Oh man, thank you. Yeah, it's like we are not giving you free advertising until you come to us ready to pay.
100%.
Yep, I totally get it. So, so you could do like you could do. I knew this comic. Um, he told me about a buddy of his who had like this podcast, and he just started like shouting out like a ramen noodle company just as a bit, and then eventually the ramen noodle company gave him a sponsorship for like his podcast or something.
Gave him a whole
Yeah.
sponsorship.
That's like some Nelly stuff. You sing about you rap about Air Force Ones, and then Air Force One swoops in and says, "We're giving you an endorsement. Here's a check."
Yes.
You know?
Get that money. I didn't know that. They just continually say that, and it's good for the company. That's great for the noodle
Yeah.
company.
I was like, I don't know like what the odds of that being successful is. It's like that could just be the two times out of like a million
That
where
is,
that like that went someplace. You know what I mean? It's hard to say just based on two stories.
if I was any noodle, if I was any chicken noodle instant ramen company, I would take any sponsorship of anyone that said my name. Like the things they are feeding us, they have no authority to pick and choose and say this guy's not qualified. No. Does he have enough eyes? Yes, he's allowed to sponsor us.
Yep, yep,
It does nothing but help their company.
yep, 100%.
Shoot. Well, that's a good intro to the show. Welcome back to the Reese Russell Show. I'm excited. I already got a guest that I've been liking his stuff for an actual year. He's an actual touring stand up comedian. He actually hits shows. He's professional. He gets paid. And he started with the improv background, which I actually want to get into, which is another challenge that I look forward to in 2023. So we're going to get a little bit into that. Improv. Today's topics and theme is conspiracy theories and superstition. And it happens to fall on today, which is February 5th, Sunday. And in Las Vegas, it's a full moon. I don't know where else it is a full moon at, but I know for sure in Las Vegas right now, full moon looks like a thriller video in the sky. It's pretty cool out there. So introducing on the cozy couch, give it up for Robby Aces.
Hey, great to be here, Reese. Thank you so much for having me. It's always fun to chat with you, man.
I appreciate you. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm caffeinated.
You're caffeinated.
I'm caffeinated. I'm othernated as well.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing good.
Start off. What the name Robby Aces? Where's that come from? That's a dope ass name.
Oh, thank
man.
you, thank you. Obviously, yeah. Well, maybe it's not obvious. It's a stage name. So yeah, where it came from actually, back in the improv days in New York. So there were three big improv theaters out there. Two of them basically spun off from the Upright Citizens Brigade, which was like the big one out there. And the first one that spun off from them was the People's Improv Theater, and the guy that still owns it to this day is Chicago improviser Ali Faranakian. He's done like he's got a lot of acting credits, both like TV and like other stuff. Wrote for Saturday Night Live for like one season, did like Second City, all that stuff, and was like part of that upright like the UCB for like those people. Like there was more than the four initially in Chicago, and he was one of them. But anyway, when I was less bald than I am today, I got to do tech for this one man show that he was doing at his theater, at the People's Improv Theater. And he gave me the nickname at the time of Bobby Aces, was the nickname that he gave me. And it felt kind of special because I looked up to him. I respected him a lot because he's like ridiculously brilliant, very funny dude, kind of trickstery. So I always remembered.
He's trickstery.
Yeah, little trickstery.
I like the way you worded that.
Yeah, like he was a guy that this is like when he was back in Chicago at like Second City and Improv Olympic, all of that. Like he went around wearing a top hat for an entire year, like as
That was his thing.
as a bit. Like a top hat and like a full cape and like pretending to be like some regal like a royal duke or some shit like that. I don't remember exactly.
He had like the staff.
Yeah, like the whole walking stick thing or whatever. Like he had a whole crazy thing. Like so, he's very method like improv and acting type of dude. Like very interesting dude. Iranian cat, Persian guy. And yeah, so he gave me this nickname Bobby Aces, which I never really used until basically basically I got tired of being a broke like improviser, and I was like a certain point in my life, and I'm like fuck it, like I need money, so I was like I've done festivals that I had to pay for. I've like taught at an improv theater. I've done this shit, but like now I need to be able to survive a little bit more with more wiggle room in New York City. So I went to grad school and I got an education degree and taught for a while. Realized if I was going to continue teaching, I would want to shoot myself in the face. So I stopped that, and I'm like, all right, well, I want to come back to comedy because that's what I really love. That's what I miss. But I already did everything that was challenging in my view with improv. So I'm like, all right, stand up is the next challenge. That's the thing. And I was like, about the same time when I was starting to do stand up, I was like starting to post being a public school teacher job where like I had responsibilities and shit like that. So I was like, all right, well I'm grown up now. Like Bob sounds like a senior citizen, right? Bob sounds like a senior
It
citizen.
does. It
and,
sounds older.
and Bobby sounds like anywhere from like a 3-year-old to like a 20-year-old, like tops kind of thing. And then you should probably grow out of being a Bobby. So I changed it from Bobby Aces to Robby Aces. Yeah. So long-winded story.
No, that's I like it. You changed it. You got a name from a special
Yeah.
guy that was special to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know how much I don't know from pain, but I'm as of looking into it, improv is way more expensive than stand up comedy when you start.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. It's shit tons more.
Everybody charges.
Like that's essentially that's essentially where like I feel like most of the money comes from the classes and the drinks that people are buying at the shows, right? Because the actual performers aren't making money like that, or at least they, back when that was like my main thing. I don't know. I've heard. I don't know. I don't know what improv is out in Vegas, but I've heard like some people that do like weekly paid improv shows in Vegas like have gotten houses out of that. So if that's true, God bless to them. I have no idea. That's just secondhand
Understood.
hearsay stuff that I've heard. But yeah. Gosh, I went on another random tangent.
We're getting to know. No, literally,
Yeah.
every ounce you're talking about yourself. This is what I want you to
Yeah.
do. That's what the Reese Russell Show is.
Yeah.
You come in here, we talk about you. You introduce yourself to the audience.
But,
so, do you have when you transition from improv to stand up? Did you then have a stage routine that you did prior, or do you have a routine that gets you in the mode of performing?
Well, it's interesting because like right before I stopped doing improv and like went to grad school and took that detour with that and teaching and shit like that. I did like stand up for the first time, like at some like open mic things, like in New York, and it was like, oh, that went really good. And I had a buddy from the UCB theater, his, haven't been in touch with him in like a million years, but I don't want to be a name dropping person. We'll say it rhymes with Smen Schmortz, right? But he was already like getting kind of comedy money and stuff, and like was already a stand up doing stand up stuff, and he gave me some guidance on like these certain jokes, and I was feeling myself really hard. And then they had like this show that like at UCB that was like sketch and stand up and some other shit, and I did the same thing I did like in the Lower East Side, and it like dropped like a like someone took a shit on someone's like tuna casserole. It's like how it went off, and then I didn't do stand up again until like I was done with teaching. I like randomly, coincidentally landed like this corporate job at this finance company.
You went from that to
like,
corporate?
Yeah, and then it was like, and that was another piece. Oh yeah, that was the other piece to eventually doing a stage name thing. Because like also when I moved out to Vegas, I was managing people for a company, and it's like
you were managing,
and I was like, I need a and I've always, I don't know, maybe this is a weird thing that maybe not everybody else's brain works this way, but I'm always like there's a delineation between work and like my real life, and the shit that I actually care about and want to do, and like in work environments is sometimes crazy and fucked up, and there's nuts ridiculous people you have to deal with, like children in like grown people bodies, and I'm like, and sometimes they're petty and do crazy shit, so it's like I don't need any of them knowing like where I'm doing stand up and what kind of jokes I'm doing or like any 100%. Kind of shit like that, So yeah, so that was the other piece as to why I like a stage name, That's my full real name is like as many letters long as the alphabet has letters.
I'm sorry. You talk about first name, middle name, last name.
Yeah.
It's at least 26 letters long.
Yeah.
You're for real?
Yeah.
This is not what?
No, it's not a bit. It's not a bit. The full name.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm just counting the letters now. That's a lot of letters.
Yeah.
How you? Is this like? What? If you don't mind me asking, what's your ethnicity?
So I'm half Colombian and half Irish. So it's like the traditional Latino thing to do is like the kids get, at least in Colombia, that's where like my Latino is from. The kids get both the father's and the mother's last name. The father's name you put first, and then a hyphen, and then the mom's last name. That's kind of how
tradition.
Yeah, that's traditionally how that works. So I have both those last names, and I have one middle name that actually sounds like two middle names because it is just smushed together.
I'm sorry.
and then a first name. So
you have hold up. You got a smushed together middle name.
Yeah, it's the in Spanish it's Miguel Alfredo, but on the Uncle Sam issued birth certificate, it's the English versions of those two things just smushed together as one name. It's like Mike Alfred instead of Michael and Alfred.
Mike Oh.
Yeah.
It's Miguel Fredo.
Yeah.
Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Did I do an accent?
Yeah. Good enough.
Hey, man, you feel like you're taking it away from me?
No. I mean, I'm not gonna lie in your face and be like, that is the most phenomenal like accent, like, because mine is not even all that great.
I felt like I felt,
but
like
it's good enough. It's intelligible. It's understandable. You're like when like these Catholic churches will have some new priest come in over a particular parish, like in like a heavily Latino community, but they're not a Latino themselves. It's like a white dude that like studied Spanish in the Peace Corps for like a year and a half, or like an Italian guy that speaks Spanish with an Italian accent. Like they'll have that person in, and then all of the Latinos in the congregation are just like, no, but it's cool because he's trying.
He's trying. That's what level you give me. I appreciate
it's like why would you hate on that? It's, he's trying. It's respectful.
Good
effort.
Mike, and they call, and with the American, the Uncle Sam version of that is what again?
Mike Alfred. Yeah,
that's a bad name.
Right.
That's a horrible name.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty horrible, pretty horrible.
Do,
Shit. But full moon tonight,
I
right?
know, I
Full
know.
moon.
Do you think people act crazy with a full moon
I
out?
think I think at least anecdotally, there's so many historical accounts of that type of shit. Um, I think it's silly to dispute that there's something to that, in my personal opinion.
To have what's the stats? It's like more people do
Yeah,
more crime and
there's an uptick in what is it? I think it is, yeah, uptick in crime. I think there's an uptick in people going to emergency rooms in hospitals. There's like an uptick in domestic situations, and this one may or may not be the case, but for some reason I feel like I heard at some point like there's also an uptick in people getting institutionalized, people like having psychotic breaks or like
the day they snap.
psychological like episodes like
Ooh.
on full moons. So
So yeah, there
there's something to it. Like whether or not we have a theory that holds water that actually makes sense or explains it, that's a side issue. But there's something.
what the
Yeah.
way you even said it. The gravitational pull on the water and the tides. They say that got something to do with it, and we're made of water.
Yeah.
So if
Plus
it,
we have iron in our blood, which is a metal, which is gonna be affected by like magnetism and shit like that in some
mhm.
shape or fashion. Whether it's a totally negligible, if that's too woo woo, like too woo woo, too crazy, too too like a late night like infomercial for like a shitty like book series with like crystal balls and shit on the cover. Like I don't know, but
I don't think it's too crazy.
right.
I don't think.
But I don't know. I think like there's like I said, like I don't know that anybody has like a definitive like foolproof explanation as to why it is, but uh I think it's pretty goofy not to just at least acknowledge that it is because it's so like historically documented.
What if it's a full moon on Friday the 13th
Yeah, yeah.
and a stock market crash?
Oh, if it's a full moon on Friday the 13th and the stock market crash, probably means that the Knights Templars are essentially looting the world economies again in revenge for the Pope back in the Middle Ages is colluding with the British monarchy to basically go after them and have them burned at the stake and shit like that. Uh,
You said it shit like that, like you were very specific. You
yeah,
were very
yeah,
specific.
the whole thing about Friday the 13th, because that's a very Western thing. It's like you go to other parts of the world, like there's nothing special or interesting about the 13th. Why you would need to be superstitious about it, but Friday the 13th specifically is because that's when the last Grand Master of the Knights Templar, which was a Catholic secret society that were also like the soldiers like doing holy war in like the Middle East and like Palestine and Israel during like the Middle Ages and Renaissance. Um, that's Friday the 13th is when their final Grand Master got executed, burned at the stake for heresy. The word on the street was that the Knights Templars were involved in these secret, weird, like occult rituals behind the scenes, that they were only faking being Catholic, that like they got in touch with like some other like weird secret societies or occult groups when they were in Israel, conquering Jerusalem and shit like that. And then they were also the bankers. They were the first international bankers. So at a certain point, the Catholic Church was probably like, well, we got to rein them in because they could probably take over like our whole shit. So so we're okay if we crack down on them and trump up. That's the other narrative is like these allegations were all trumped up charges to basically take out a group that was getting too powerful, that the hierarchy of the church felt was all right positioned to be a threat to like take kind of take over like the business,
Mm-hmm.
as it were. So Friday the 13th being a superstition is based on that being the day when Jacques Desmoulins got burned at the stake. Yeah,
Oh shit.
yeah. Um,
That's
yeah,
you
unlucky
dropped.
number 13
That's some
comes from that.
Wow, and that's all the way. Like people won't even go to the elevator. Like 13 elevator, they'll take that out the
Yeah,
entire building.
right. It'll go from floor 12 to floor 14, shit like
And
that.
it
Yeah.
made it all the way from that to Western
Yeah.
Eyes. Wow.
Because there's also like uh and that's also maybe like like I don't know, just hearsay. So Masons out there, don't hate on me. I'm an ignorant outsider, but like there's a Jacques de Molay society within like Masonic kind of organizations and stuff. It's like for the kids.
What's Masonica?
Freemasons.
Oh,
Yeah,
Mason.
one of those one of those long-standing fraternal organization type things that a lot of folks that are conspiratorial will be like, them's the ones that that rule everything. They secretly control everything, kind of thing.
33rd degree Mason.
Yeah, yeah. But the Demolay Society is for kids, and it's basically a junior Masonic organization for like little children to like learn stuff. What they learn, I don't know. But yeah, like that's interesting that they would name that organization that they run after the last Grand Master of the Freemasons. And I think there's also like a Templar degree in Masonry. So whether there's any direct one-to-one connection, like some people like they have a theory that the Masons were really like the Knights Templar went underground. They never got completely eliminated, and then they just resurfaced as the Freemasons later. But who knows? Just, I'm not in that one. I'm not in that club.
You're an outsider looking in.
Yeah, I'm just a super nerd. I'm a super nerd for religious history of like secret societies and like intrigue and all that kind of shit.
You have a really great way of breaking it down and getting the point across.
Yeah.
So that's why
now I got to make it funnier because the people who probably like half your audience, like if they didn't completely fall asleep just now, they probably had a seizure just from the pain of like, what is this super autistic guy in the flashy jacket? What the fuck is he?
I don't think you. No, that shirt is dope too. I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit. I'm intrigued, so I appreciate that. And it's fitting right in. Is there a conspiracy theory that is not a conspiracy? Like this shit true? I don't care what nobody say.
Well, shit. MK Ultra is not a conspiracy theory. That's a for real thing. The
fighters, the assassins.
Well, that was part of it. There were so MK Ultra was essentially, it was multiple sub projects within like the Central Intelligence Agency, essentially to investigate means of getting an edge in mind control, for use allegedly just in war or to outflank the enemy, so-called, which was like the Soviet Union back then, but I think is pretty clearly more just about dominating and enslaving other people on the behest of bankers.
It's all about it. It seems all of
that's my crazy person talk.
It seems like it all traces back to money.
Yeah, or something, because like money isn't, when you come down to it, money is just a magic trick. It's an illusion, right? You tell people, hey, there's these magical piece of paper, and we drew someone that we told you was really important on the piece of paper. Therefore, now this paper has value, and like you're gonna, like that's a magic trick in itself. That's like, that's magic. That's illusion. That's a form of hypnosis. We've all taken the suggestion that has some value, even though it's not backed by anything anymore. It's not backed by gold. It's just backed by, you know why this is worth something? Because we fucking said so. Now shut up and use this.
That's where crypto came from.
Yeah.
What's your take on crypto? As a second means to because you're 100% right. Money is not backed, but it has not been backed by gold since Reagan.
Even longer than that. It was actually during Nixon
Nixon.
in the I think it was like something like 1973 or something like that. Like the previous monetary system that was used internationally was like money essentially backed by gold. Of course, the First and Second World Wars, whether these were things by design or just things that happened, uh, you can debate. But essentially, like Federal Reserve Banks, which is basically just a international monopoly, a gentleman's fraternity of bankers that don't have any allegiance to any fucking culture or any particular group of people or any country, decided, essentially took over the banking in multiple countries, away from what traditionally would have been the king's right or say the republic's right, what have you, to like issue money. These central banks took that over. They were essentially an international like group, and they decided for whatever reason that gold standard was going to be done with when Nixon was in office, and they then tied the value of the money to the oil magnates in the Middle East agreeing to only accept the U.S. dollar, as the means of exchange to pay for oil. Like that's when the shift happened, and now everything's collapsing because that whole system is being replaced by something else.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that why Saddam Hussein got taken down? Because he was paying for money, he was paying for oil in currency that wasn't U.S. dollars.
That's quite possible. That's quite possible. I don't know. 100% what was the final reason for us to pretend that there was some noble reason to go in and destroy another fucking country and take out their leader as shitty as he may have been. I'm not 100% on that. I know that he was a asset of the U.S. State Department of the CIA. He Donald Rumsfeld went and visited Saddam Hussein and was very friendly and happy and cool with that dude during the Reagan years. And then they turned around and they made up a story about babies in incubators, which they plastered all over the national media in the United States.
Babies in incubators.
Yeah, they had this whole thing as like a justification to emotionally get people on board with the invasion of Iraq. They had this girl testify in Congress in tears that Iraqi soldiers, part of Saddam Hussein's like Ba'athist party that like ran that country, like they were rolling into hospitals in Kuwait and ripping babies out of incubators, throwing them on the ground, spearing them like war crimes, like total massive horrific atrocities. She's saying this in Congress, in the U.S. Congress. This gets plastered all over the media here in the lovely United States of America. So this thing where these shitheads say, "How dare you not believe anything that we say?" These fuckers have been lying to you guys your whole fucking lives, because it turned out that that girl was. She wasn't just a nobody, poor girl in Kuwait that happened to be chilling at a hospital. She was actually the daughter of somebody that was like within the government in Kuwait and was tied to like a PR, like a multinational PR firm. None of that shit that she said was true. She was brought in there essentially to essentially deliver lines, to put on a phenomenal performance that would pull at the heartstrings of stupid Americans, while
I felt it when you said it.
While the talking heads on the nightly news and on cable news told you, oh my God, oh, he's the next Hitler, which is what they have said ever since the real Hitler died, is everybody that they want you to hate, they'll tell you is the new Hitler. Not really, because we've had several of them ourselves, but we just don't call them that. Side note, right? So, like these lies,
lies.
So it's like, because he was an asset for the U.S. government until a point, which is what always happens, because they invaded Panama as well. If people know history or they're a certain age, they know the United States invaded Panama before the older George Bush did the first Iraq invasion. They invaded Panama to take out this evil, terrible dictator with a horrible skin named Manuel Noriega in Panama, who is like a military dude that like was basically aided and abetted by U.S. intelligence agencies to like run a coup and take over that country. But he was also running drugs, which is part of the whole how crack cocaine came into the United States and became a crazy fucking thing in like the 80s and 90s. Like it had to do with that. But as soon as he decided to show a little bit of independence from our lovely alphabet soup people in the United States government, they're like, all right, fuck this dude. He's the new Hitler. And then
they take him down.
And then George Bush showed up on national TV, like pulls out a fucking Ziploc bag of like cocaine, and it's like on national TV. You can YouTube this shit. It should still be out there. I don't know,
they haven't taken it down.
Like it's like as an address to the country. Like, he pulls out, like, a baggie of cocaine. He's like, this was just found, like, only a couple of blocks away from the White House, and, like, basically suggesting, like making a, like, brilliant power of persuasion, this visual, like, suggesting to the government this horrible, terrible things happening just in Washington, D.C., these terrible drug crimes and all of that was because of this pockmarked dude in Nicaragua. Never mind the fact that we were involved. Not we, because anybody listening to this is not in government, has no responsibility for any of this kind of shit. But the people that tell you who you're supposed to, like, believe is, like, a credible source of information, those are the people that, like, got you on board for that shit too. Like, so this is like an old story. Like, we set these people up, we bribe whoever the grimiest, shittiest piece of shit person is that we can control to, like, run a country.
That's what we get.
And then when they get a little independent, or they try and do something to break away, to pull on the leash a little bit, we say, yeah, fuck that. That's not what you signed up for. And then we go in and take them out.
100%.
Like, yeah, that shit is so, like, old news. That's why, whatever. Ukraine, I'm like, all right, do you think this is somehow different than all the other hundreds of fuck shit things that the government has done going back since, like, the early 1900s? Do you think this is the one that's where they're legitimately telling you the real reason why they want you to be okay with like with your money and
Absolutely
your country
not.
going to shit so you can pay for, like, to murder people someplace across the world? Like, nah, they're never telling you the real answer.
100%.
I don't know what the real answer is, but I know that those fuckers are not telling you the right answer.
That's the freedom
They're lying
that
to you.
America provides. They give
Right.
you so much information and say, figure it out yourself.
Well, right, but then they always have people that are there to be like, how dare you think you could figure it out for yourself, you retard? Like you're too stupid. Just listen to us because you're stupid, right? And then most people get afraid because they're like, oh, I don't want anybody to think that I'm stupid.
Yeah.
I guess I should just keep listening to
Why
that
should
guy.
I think for myself?
Forget I ever said anything different. Like, let me put those books down. Like I forgot, by some strange magic, reading books makes me more of a retard than just believing what the fuck these douchebags are telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, somehow.
Thinking for yourself. That's
Right,
not
right.
allowed.
No. They want to shame you. Like, that's especially, like, one of the weirdest things about, like, the world we live in now. Like, basically in the last, like, 5, 6, 7 years.
Shame.
Yeah, well, it's the specific shaming of independent thought, but it's done in a very fucking sneaky way to, like, pull on whatever kind of like affinities you have with the larger group to use that to manipulate you into shitting on anybody that thinks independently or has questions. Because then it's immediately like, all right, uh, that's kind of like this happens with like chickens on a farm. If there's like they're brutal. Like one chicken that looks slightly off, like they've got a weird uh, pattern to their feathers or something, or maybe they're like missing a feather or two. Like sometimes chickens will just be like, wait a minute, that one ain't like us, and then they just pick and poke it to death and cannibalize that chicken.
They eat
That was different. Yeah.
And they
So it's like,
take it out because it doesn't fit the pattern of the chicken.
yeah.
What? Is that why we got an egg shortage? Is that the reason?
I don't know.
Fucked up feathers.
I don't know.
The reason why we got.
There's theories out there about the egg shortage, but like
There are?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a strange number of fires of like egg processing plants and like meat processing plants and all this kind of shit over the last few years. So I've read some places where they're like, nah. That's like actually within what reasonably always happens. Like people are just focusing on or reporting on it now in a way they didn't before. It's totally normal, but I kind of feel like it's probably not normal.
It doesn't sound
and
normal.
like there was just a scientific study that just got published in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I think. Essentially, it was a study that indicated that there's something in egg yolk that that is actually prophylactic in a sense. And I may not be literally using that word correctly, but metaphorically at least I am. There's something in egg yolks that will help to prevent you from catching COVID viruses. And, is that a total coincidence? I don't know. But it's very interesting that before that comes out, you have like this massive, like one of the largest like egg processing facilities in the country has a major fire. It's like pushed out of there, and there was a lot of sort of pressures like artificially during the lockdowns to essentially like just like it was like because we assume, because mostly we're kind of stupid and we're very distractible, and we have like all these things also set up to distract us from like doing anything functional with our lives. Like we assume that the people over us are likewise have those same attention deficit problems that we do.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they do, right? Because they wouldn't be the people in charge if they had those same problems. They want you to have those problems,
yes.
But they can't have those problems and run cons over you, So is it coincidental? Or is it like, all right, we knew this study was going to come out. We kind of need more justifications to ramp up sales for these boosters that now people are not taking.
That's a long game right there. You're saying we gonna give you the COVID and take away your ability to prevent it by getting rid of these eggs that makes your body prevent the COVID.
Like, I think it's like, I don't know. It's like, I think that's one of the largest disconnects of like people that are like kind of crazy pants, allegedly, like like me, and like other people is one is the notion that that the people in charge are as like bumbling and stupid as we are. Maybe the ones we see on TV, the ones that are like blackmailed and like presented to us as the leaders. Yeah, maybe they are. Sure, fine. But the ones above them, the ones that have like policy papers going back decades on like look up National Security Memorandum. What is it? National Security Memorandum 2002. I might have the number of the memorandum wrong, but it's something that Henry Kissinger wrote, like as Secretary of State, is essentially what the World Economic Forum is doing, because Klaus Schwab is a protege of Henry Kissinger, is essentially positing that that population was the largest threat to the power of the elite of like
Of course,
and
of course,
specifically
that's
of
what
the
they would
government.
believe.
That was the largest like threat
Of course,
to
if
like
there's too many-
security and peace and blah 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 blah. So we've got to reduce the population of people, but it's got to be overt because otherwise people are gonna like freak out. They're gonna like lose their shit, and then we're at danger.
Yeah, you're trying to hold us.
So they need to like there needs to be other rationales for why people are dying that we can throw out to them that they're likely to believe. So and that's not read some shit, people. And this is not and also don't expect these things to be riveting reading like the fucking Tom Clancy novels or some shit like this. Like these things are dry as fuck. That's why but they put it out there. Like they just know how to write shit in the most boring and long-winded way possible that even if anybody's heard of it, most people are going to give up like after a page and a half. They're like, "Holy fuck, is this boring?" I guess
they put it in
I
the
guess
books.
everything must check out. It's like I don't have the bandwidth to read all this boring shit. But it's like if you read through if you read certain things, you read figure out what they're saying what they're saying in a certain way, couched in very dry and boring and stupid language, and it's like, oh, okay.
So you're saying get a law degree and you're good. You'll be all right.
Or just be very spurgy. Be like me. Be a secret super spurg.
You seem dedicated. I like it.
I don't know. I don't know if this is funny yet. So like if it's not funny yet, I don't know if you're if you have people if Roscoe, Professor Roscoe, if you're at home, if you're listening live, if you're starting to fall asleep, just message Reese and we'll make it funny.
I got you. And a few people hit me, but now you're actually good. What do you have you seen I thought it was a full moon a couple days ago.
Oh yeah?
Uh-huh.
What was it? Was something did something crazy happen that made you go yeah?
Something crazy
I had the return of crazy. I don't know if I want to get into it, but it was brief return of crazy. What was your situation?
I just looked up and saw the China balloon. I was like, no, it's good. No, I didn't make it over Vegas. It was over
you saw the China balloon?
I was like, man, what is that? That's the moon, dog. I don't care what y'all trying to tell me.
Oh no. That whole thing, I don't that whole thing is like.
Did you hear what they said?
No, what did they say?
China said after it got shot down, it has been since shot down. But after it got shot down, said basically it's not fair that you shot our weather balloon down. It was an act of God, and from now on, we reserve the right to handle all situations that you guys can't control in similar fashion. They were not happy about it. How do you have one balloon come in the United States that made a mistake and another one coming in South America down there? How do you have two of them? Is two mistakes that come on?
Oh, yeah. Maybe it was part of the same, the same family of balloons. And they got caught up in a storm, and two of the younger brother balloons, they were like, well, let's stick together because we're lost. We don't know where the fuck we're going, and they made it over to the Western Hemisphere. I don't know
how they plan on getting that back.
Oh man,
that's the whole point. I'm saying if you let a hot air balloon up in the air, it eventually got to land somewhere. It just happened to land in the places that you wanted to spy on anyway.
But that's also that story just seems really stupid though. I'm not saying what it is, but it's seriously. They have spy satellites and they have actual human spies. They have these things already. So why would they need a fucking weather balloon with what looks like the most shittily jury rigged piece of crappy lighting at a bar, dangling from a balloon? Why would they need that to spy on cows in Montana when they already have spy satellites? Why would they need that doesn't make sense to me. I don't,
That's a nuclear. That's one of the
Oh,
largest
that
nuclear
thing that
fields
it's like
in
it's
Montana.
a test for how you drop an EMP to like take out the electrical grid. Like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I think I
That
heard
just
that too.
that just
Um,
happens to be in Montana coincidentally. I don't know. I don't know.
I
But
don't know.
but you said a couple days ago you had a full moon like experience with it being wild.
No, I mean, it was just you know, it was just a blast from the past, kind of thing. Of like,
Like Back to the Future.
not exactly. Uh, I don't know. Like, yeah. See, this is where I'll definitely sound like a crazy person, um, because I've had a few minutes. You ever have like people where you're like, all right, these are like these are like uh the extras in the movie of my life, and it's like every once in a while you'll like be going through life and you're like, wait a minute, I've seen that same extra in my life before. But it was, but it's like a totally different place, a totally different time. And it's like, maybe it's just someone that looks like that particular person. But then you're like, no, that like, for sure somehow,
Uh huh.
right? That's where I start to sound crazy. But you're like,
That's the same.
that's the same background person. It's like, what are the chances? Maybe probably, because I'm not a mathematician. So maybe the chances are very, very good. I don't know. But, yeah, I saw a person like that in O'Hare Airport.
Chicago.
Yeah, coming back from finishing up a run on the road, and I was flying back from O'Hare, and I took the train from someplace else to go to O'Hare to grab my flight, and there was someone in that who rode the same train and then also ended up being on my same flight, that it was like, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure I saw that same person like randomly at like a Key Foods in like fucking the Lower East Side of
You,
Manhattan, in like 2013, like like
you're
after, like,
positive.
yeah, it's like
Deja vu for
it's
real.
like, that's weird. Um, and that's happened a few times, like, in my life, and maybe that's, me being wired a certain way, and maybe it's just a total hallucination, right? Maybe it's just someone that happens to look similar, or something about them triggers the memory of like somebody that would, but pretty confident, same people. Like, this has happened a few times, like over my lifetime. This
How's that
happened.
make you feel?
It's weird. It's like, huh? I wonder what that means. It's just odd. It's like, huh? I wonder what that is. Like, if
It sounds like your conscience. I mean, you're aware.
if there's like, if there's truly is some like grand design to reality, some sort of intelligence or consciousness behind it, then maybe certain things are meant to be like, all right, are, you know are like supposed to happen in like low moments like that, are indicators of like, it's just like a little nudge. It's like a, hey,
That you're going in the right direction.
just so you know, um like, yes, you have free will, you have shit that's like in your control, just like in a video game, but also uh there's a lot of this that is just like sort of set up a certain way. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, like, what would it have taken for that person to randomly decide to be in the same town and hop on a train to O'Hare, like, on the same day, and they were in a Key Foods in the Lower East Side in like 2000, in like 2013. You know what I mean? Like, it's like what would it have happened in their lives if they just happened to, like, it's interesting.
And
It's like,
especially in New
it's like,
York,
huh?
all the people. So what
Yeah, yeah.
what's your take? Do you believe in angels?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I believe in angels. I believe in a lot of that stuff, and I know that, um, a certain set of people, they can't understand that, and their knee jerk impulse will be like, to be like, well, you're reasonably intelligent. How could you possibly think those kind of things when I have like a very mechanistic, everything's random, there's no whatever kind of view. How could you arrive at a different place than me? I must have been wrong about you being smart. You must be stupid. You must be an idiot. Like there's a tendency, like among certain people, to be that, like to be that way, or to be like, or more charitably, sometimes they'll just be like, hey, if it wasn't you, I would be thinking you're a complete moron. But because you're my friend and I like you, I'm like, I don't get it, whatever. But like, if I didn't know you, I'd probably be shitting all over you and anybody like you right now.
They give you a pass from the friendship.
Yeah. It's like, yeah.
You believe? What about? I mean, what about aliens?
Like
foreign creatures that have grown to have substantial brain power to be able to make it.
And they're like an advanced different species of conscious life that are just like hundreds or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years more technologically advanced and intelligent than us, and they like come over here. We're like their little ant farm, and they periodically shake us up to see what the fuck we'll do. Like that kind of thing. Maybe, or that's we live in a technological sort of age where we worship technology, and therefore these are entities that present themselves in that way because that's the way that in our current cultural environment we'd be willing to accept them, because maybe 1,000 years ago they showed themselves as demons, right? Or angelic beings or whatever, because that's what we were primed to accept viewing them as, because we don't maybe necessarily have the consciousness or the intellect just as a species to really process exactly what they really, really are. So they're just going to show us in the way that is most palatable for like those that they want to see them, in any given period of history. That might be one way you could look at extraterrestrials.
It sounds like that's a very well thought out way of looking at it.
Yeah, because I saw no shit. I saw alien grays before in my life.
Alien what?
Yeah, the stereotypical alien grays that have like the weird almond shaped heads and the big massive like cat looking eyes, and the slit mouths and the little slit nostrils and no ears, and they're supposed to be super like thin and spindly kind of thing. They're like on the cover of like UFO books and shit. If you go to like a bookstore, like that's the image that you're likely to see. I saw those.
You saw those in the wild?
Well, I saw them at a certain point in my life when I was in Japan. And no, I was not doing any kind of strange magical substances or anything like that.
No hallucinogens.
No, nothing like that. But I was doing some, I guess, we'll say, spiritual exploration and experimentation.
Spiritual exploration and experimentation.
We'll say that. And I did, and I was also living in a home in the boonies, in Japan, because a dude that was a buddy of mine at the time, a Japanese cat that I knew, he had inherited a home from his moms and his grandmoms, who both died, and it's another whole side thing. That whole house was haunted. But yeah, I did. I was I had a routine of meditation.
You're in meditation?
I can't say I currently actively am, but part of that thing I told you before we started running the cameras earlier, that's what I'm gonna attempt to start getting back into.
Gotcha.
Um, when that fast starts, that cleanse sort of thing. But in that period of time, at that time in my life, and I was in Japan, I was doing certain kind of ritual type of things on a daily basis, and I was doing my best to be meditating every single day. And one evening, I had a 3 hour meditation that I did, and I started getting a full body buzz. Like I could literally hear and feel like the energy in the room. And you could say that's a neurological thing that's happening because you've been zoning out too long, like on like alpha waves or whatever the waves are, like when you meditate that your brain produces, maybe something like that. But uh, this
Three
is a meditation you
hours.
do with your eyes closed,
Yes.
focusing on your third eye. And if you really get in a particular place and focus, then you'll see like where you're focusing, where your third eye is with your eyes closed. It'll all of a sudden you'll see purple, you'll see color, and then you'll see changes in the color. And if you stay focused, you don't let yourself be distracted. That'll start to give way to other things. And what it gave way to this one particular night was out of the black of like my closed eyes focusing on that third eye. All of a sudden it started looking like, one of those old ass like TVs, like when like the local TV station would like go off the air for like the night at like 2 in the morning or some shit like that, and have like all that snow,
Uh huh.
like that like cable TV type snow shit. Like
The f-
the color in the center of my third eye got replaced entirely. My entire frame of vision with eyes closed, meditating, became like that kind of pixels of snow, and then stepping out from behind that those pixels of snow was this alien gray. He was
alien
looking straight.
gray.
He was looking straight at me into my eyes, like just staring. And it was like what the like, and
And you still
and then
continue to
and then I
meditate?
came out of the meditation. My entire body was buzzing. I was like the energy still in the room still felt like totally like everything was like wah 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 like vibrating and shit like that. And I was like, I want to just test and see if this is just me or whatever. And dude whose place I was staying with, like he was working kind of sporadically at that time, so like he pulled like a lot of all nighters, just like hanging out, like writing, listening to music, smoking, like chain smoking, and like drinking like sake or whatever. So I knew he would be awake because like when I came out of the meditation it was something like maybe 3 in the morning or something like that. And I'm like, all right, I know he's gonna be awake. So I went out to the common area of the house and I'm like, hey, just do me a favor. I'm not gonna like tell you anything. Can you come in my room real quick? And he was like, oh yeah, the energy is like crazy. It's like there's a
He felt it.
yeah. And I'm like okay. Well, so all right, so that wasn't just in my
You didn't
brain.
give him any. You didn't tell him,
I
hey.
mean, I don't know. I could have. I may have. I can't. Because memory is not always like memory is pliable. It's not 100%. Like there's been fucking studies
100.
for decades that it's not like
But from what
memory is
you,
a little malleable and sometimes things change or whatever. So I can't tell you 100% that I didn't accidentally tip him off somehow or like prime him to be like, oh, the energy is like blah 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 blah.
but I mean,
To
I
where
can
he might have
imagine.
been like, okay, let me just like appease this dumb friend of mine and be like, oh yeah, it's crazy energy. But to my recollection, I didn't tip him off and go like, yo yo yo, check,
It seems like you really. I mean, I can
But
imagine.
that was wild. And then I saw them. I saw them in other circumstances, like randomly, where in the future of my time in Japan for like probably like 3-4 months, um, but that was after the fact, but it then ended up being linked to some magical fungal thing that used to be legal to purchase in that lovely country.
A
Um,
little bit mushrooms.
yeah, Yeah.
A little bit of mushroom.
Yeah. You but
Do you think?
yeah.
Have you ever done mushrooms and edibles? Has any? Is that a thing? Has anybody ever done that?
I'm sure it is a thing because everybody mixes everything with everything
I
like
would
that.
think that would
Like
drive a person
I don't
crazy.
know. Like I've never done that. So I don't
I
know.
could imagine, like that's the one thing that I think. I've had some friends do DMT. I had some friends do edibles. I had some friends, but I've never seen that combination of that. I couldn't imagine going, I, and then like meditating. I'm really big into meditating. Like the longest I've gone is 40 minutes, and I came out feeling like amazing. I
Yeah,
couldn't imagine
it
going
resets you.
your
Yeah,
nervous system all
yeah,
through your
yeah.
spine.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's awesome. Like I can't. Uh, 40 minutes. These days is like rare that I can hit 40 minutes. So
I
it's
do
like
20 minutes at
that's
least.
impressive.
I do 20 minutes at least 5 times a week.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great, dude.
I'm a
That's
big like
that. Yeah.
transcendental meditation.
Oh, word. You
Yeah.
did the whole thing, and they presented you with the stuff like
Oh, this is
you
the only thing that I out of that meditation that I don't feel like I have to get is the actual word that they give you.
you didn't do you didn't pay the money for the
Absolutely not.
official initiation.
Absolutely not.
That's cool. That's
Zero,
cool.
zero,
I dig
zero
it. I dig it.
chance.
I dig it.
But
I dig
it's
it.
the most widely studied. I think it's the first one, the
Yeah.
1954 ish around.
Yeah.
But I do as close of that as possible without paying them a dime. I write for a living. I can write my own words and meditate too.
God
And it
bless.
has been,
That's awesome.
do you think that is the right way to go with the transcendental?
I mean, there's so many different kinds of meditation. So, I mean, I don't know. I know. I've met a few. I've met a few other like comics and stuff in life, um, through the years that did transcendental meditation, um, and it seemed like they felt like they benefited, some way somehow from it. Um, I think what's his name? Eric Andre allegedly. This is secondhand. Um, he's a transcendental meditation guy.
I can see
Eric
that.
Andre. And of course, famously, Andy Kaufman was. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. Andy
I know
Kaufman was
Jerry,
big into
J.
TM.
Cole.
Oh, for real, J.
rapper.
Cole?
Yeah.
Wow, I
yeah,
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did he do it? The drop in the $900 or whatever it cost him when he went in.
I don't think. I don't know. But
I guess like the cool thing it's kind of like the thing that's like the appeal for something like the Freemasons or even like the Moose Lodge or like some one of these things like that is just feeling like you could you could travel across the country and in some instances across the world, and you can find somebody that you can find someone with that shared experience or that shared like sort of like journey that they're doing, kind of thing. So like TM, my understanding is kind of like that, because if you drop the money to do the official like thing where they give you the super special mantra that's supposed to be uniquely and spiritually selected for you, but probably is just a big like a Chuck E. Cheese ball bin full of like mantras on paper, and then they just have some fat guy jump in there, fart a few times, grab a handful, and go, all right, this guy's getting this word, this guy's getting this word. That's probably what's really happening. Sorry,
I would.
but
I would.
I think there's something
something
to any
to
kind
it.
of meditation.
There's
I think.
I believe
Yeah.
so, and I
Yeah.
definitely get
They-
benefits. I started
For
doing
sure.
it just because I heard it gives you 4 extra hours a
Yeah.
day of energy, and I
Yeah.
was like, I'll definitely do that. But it is giving me so many other benefits of that. But I'm with it.
But if you did the drop in the money thing down, that's where I trailed off on, was like they basically say you can go to any place in the country or the world where they have a transcendental meditation center, and you can go there and check in, and they've got meditation rooms where you can go and hang out and meditate, like anywhere across the country, and you can by that way, like meet other people that are into transcendental meditation, and that becomes kind of a network of like people, where people are like, oh, you're into that thing, blah blah blah, like they'll help you out. So that there's always going to be a draw from that, because there's if you don't have an actual family or a real authentic community, then the next best thing is going to be networking.
Oh, networking.
And that's what, that's like, it's like, that's what that is. And I guess it becomes like a family, like fraternities, things like that can become like a family, can feel like actual family. And I guess in some instances, who am I to say that they don't truly fulfill that purpose, like in a healthy, wonderful way? Maybe they do, right? But that's a kind of cool thing you could do,
I'm with that.
But you could, you could start your own thing.
I could.
Like, I'm not telling you to be a cult leader, Reese, although I think you'd be a very good and benign one. I mean, I don't think you would force people to drink poison or wear the same tracksuits. I don't think he would do that. Like, because those, some of the tracksuits those cults wear are
they're not
very
in fashion.
Yeah, they're totally bootleg. They're not very fashion forward. They're very shabby looking. I don't think you would shame people in that way if you were a cult leader. I feel like you would be like, you know what? You don't have to pay me anything. But if I need a ride somewhere, right? Like
you just favors. Do me a little bit of favors with the cult. If there was a cult I would want to be involved in,
it's like I'm not gonna take your wife from you, but if I'm feeling a little peckish and I happen to be in your town, like maybe you'll
lend her to
you'll cook me some decent like food, some home cooking or something.
Cooking. I would like to be in the John Wick cult. With the coins and the assassins cult where they I would if there was a cult, if that was real life, I would definitely be.
I feel like that's loosely based on the Knights Templars who we were talking about previously, because them and the Hashashin, who that's where the word hashish comes from, and the word assassin,
tobacco, right?
Yeah, comes from the Hashashin. They were a Ismaili subsect of Islam that were essentially, allegedly, were a cult. And the big myth that exists, whether it was fully true or not, was that someone who wanted to be initiated into like their thing, like they'd basically rendition them. They'd put something over their head, cover their head so they couldn't see where they were going. They'd take them to like this mountain fortress that they had, and they had a whole big setup of like made it essentially look like a Garden of Eden sort of situation. And then they'd get these young dudes like totally high out of their fucking minds on hashish, and then they'd be like, hey, you are now, they take the hood off their heads and be like, you're now in paradise. Like the leader of this particular branch of the religion has the answers, has the dude with the main line,
Alice
like
in Wonderland
straight connection to God. You are now in Eden. You are now in like the paradise that's promised in the religion. Here's all these pretty hot chicks giving you like rare fruits you've never seen in your life because you're like a poor like Bedouin kid, something like that. And then put the hood back over your head and then be like, all right, now you got to go through these things. How you get back to paradise is you gotta, if we ask, you gotta train and go undercover, and if it may never happen, but maybe it will, when we give you the assignment to go and murder somebody, a duke or like a cleric or like a head of state,
you just handle that.
You're gonna go and handle it. Yeah,
I'm with that.
Yeah, that's the famous assassins, and they were the ones that the Knights Templar allegedly linked up with, in the Middle East during the Holy Wars, and which allegedly is then how like they became what the Catholic Church alleged them to be, like doing crazy occult rituals and weird kind of secret society type of shit, because they picked up that stuff from the assassins, from the Hashashin, from the Ishmaelis.
They just copy and paste.
Yeah,
it.
But I think like the whole John Wick thing is loosely based on like that whole like, okay, well, let's put that sort of reality of history and just map it onto like current day, like fucking New York and LA, like kind of thing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Dope ass movie.
Man, this was a dope ass episode.
Well, shit. I don't know if it was that funny, people, if you were expecting it to be funny, but hopefully it was an entertaining conversation and you're not all bored to death.
This is before you get out of here. Appreciate you again. Thank you very, very, very much. Would you rather open an umbrella inside, walk under a ladder, or step on a crack?
Open an umbrella outside.
No,
oh, wait, inside.
Inside.
Yeah, open an umbrella inside because I've been in a lot of kind of suspect like hotels and motels, like in the middle of the night on the road, and some of those have had leaks in the ceiling. So yeah, so if you're in one of those types of places and you open the umbrella inside, that's not gonna be bad luck. That's gonna be the best kind of
luck. That's a tent now,
right? Exactly.
The tent. That makes a lot of sense because you got to go out of your way to walk under a ladder.
Yeah, you do.
You got to break your mama back to step on a crack.
Exactly. You have to you got to make the decision. You know.
Umbrella inside is useful.
Yeah, for
Appreciate you again, Robby Aces.
God bless for having me.
Where can they find you?
You can go to Instagram. You'll find Robby Aces _stand-up. You could go to my website, which I don't update as much as I certainly should. Vanillatino.com.
Vanillatino.
Yeah, because I am a Vanillatino.
You got dope graphics on there too.
Yeah.
I like your website. I've checked it out.
Oh, sweet. Hell yeah. All right. God bless, brother.
What do you want the world to know?
Anybody with the financial interest in lying to you, probably at some point will. So don't believe crazy shit you see in the 2D world, whichever 2D world you're looking at. Get to know the people around you, love them, have fun. Try not to, if you shit on people, shit on everybody, and do it with love, not out of hate, because who knows what's gonna happen in this world. All right.
Fact. Thank you, Robby Aces, everybody. My name is Reese. This is the Reese Russell Show. Thank you for tuning in. Another episode coming back soon. Peace and love.